Hello, I'm Allison Day, and I'm here to do my initial reaction questionnaire. To start with the first question, which is, when you think of the term and phrase dual language learner, what images come to mind? I honestly just see a student, dual language learners can be any age, I know that, any race, from any location. Like, I could be a dual language learner. If I were to move to another country, I'm just going to give the example of the Dominican Republic because my boyfriend and I have thought about moving there since he is trying to get his citizenship there right now because his dad's from there. So I would technically be a dual language learner from learning Spanish, but also in my setting as a teacher, dual language learners can be the younger ages of birth through age 5, or a little even older, learning Spanish. I have some that are learning Chinese right now. So that's what comes to mind when I think of that. What challenges do I think dual language learners experience in early childhood education settings? I don't really know if they face this challenge or not. My students I know do not in my setting, but specifically trying to make friends. If English isn't their first language, then it might be a little harder for them to make friends and get on that connection with other students who do speak English and aren't learning any other language, or know the language that they are speaking. I also feel like they may face some challenges in the schoolwork by following instructions because they may not understand what they are, especially if things aren't labeled or anything. What challenges do I think the early childhood education setting faces or face in supporting dual language learners? I think there needs to be more resources for dual language learners, especially in certain states that don't give a lot of resources, and more support for the families, because I think we should promote them getting the education and be helpful as much as we can to make sure the students succeed and the families succeed in having their children in the school. What assets do I think dual language learners bring to the early childhood education settings? I think just bringing the language and having that language there, there are some barriers, but being able to cross those barriers allows the teachers and other students, to learn that language, and I think that's really important. And once you cross those barriers the first time, then you know what to do for the next time it comes around, and you're kind of more prepared for it than just going in and not knowing what to do. And so once you have those assets are good to have. The next question, should dual language learners be taught in their first language, English, or both in the early childhood education settings, and why? Personally, I believe both, because dual language, they're learning both languages. So if they get it in both languages, they'll be able to learn better. And I know it's better cognitively for the students to know both languages, and it's easier for them at younger ages to learn both languages than it is just one, or learn one completely and then later on learn another. From my personal knowledge, that's why I think we should do both. The next question is, if you were a parent of a dual language learner in an early childhood education setting, what types of supports, resources would you want your child and or your family? I think I would want support from the teacher and staff of that school that I have my child in, so that they know, or so that they can help me get my child through the education program. I want my child to succeed, and I would hope that they do too. So getting their support is my number one. Resources, if they can send me the papers or assignments even in the child's language, or my child's language, if I know it, I can help them with their homework if it's in the language I know, so I'm not just leaving them out to be doing it all by themselves. I think that would help. Or if they can give me resources of other families that have had dual language learner children, I think that would also be nice. The next question is, what are some strategies and/or resources you think should be present in early childhood education settings and instruction to help dual language learners develop early literacy skills? So like I said earlier, if there can be instructions or things labeled with the language that is their first language, so like Spanish, Chinese, or something like that, if we can have those in the classroom, it should be easier for the kid to feel welcome in that classroom, to feel safe in that classroom. It also helps them learn both of the languages, and they're able to make the connection between what that word is and what it looks like in both languages. So when they see it labeled in their language and they know what it looks like in English too, then they know how to spell it and know how to use it later on. In early childhood education settings, should the dual language learners be screened using the same assessments and screeners use with non-dual language learners? Why or why not? I think they should be assessed the same, and screeners as with non-dual language learners. I think generally they should be the same, because they're learning the same content and they are learning the same materials as non-dual language learners. Theirs might be a little different though, in the sense that it's more like it's written in their own language, or their first language. I have heard other places and others in different schools not doing the same assessments, because they don't think the students that are dual language learners are necessarily at the same rate of education. And in that sense, I would understand why they wouldn't be on the same assessments and screeners. If it's like a later age in, let's say, high school, and you have a dual language learner, then I can understand why they would need different assessments if they're not catching on to the material. Otherwise, if they are on the same rate of education, they understand the materials that's given to them, they're acing the class and everything, I would say they should be assessed and use and have the same assessments as non-dual language learners. That's all the questions for the initial response questionnaire. Again, my name is Allison Day. Thank you for your time, and I can't wait to learn more in this class.